Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got a video by T. Reese titled The Disturbing Similarities Between Anthony Edwards and Andrew Wiggins. Both guys that were obviously top picks and also played for the Minnesota Timberwolves at some point in their NBA careers. So I will say, initially, my initial reaction with Anthony Edwards was all right, best case scenario, I felt like he would be like a Donovan Mitchell or like a Bradley Beal type of player, somewhere between those two guys. Whereas opposed to Andrew Wiggins, I do remember he was being compared to the next Tracy McGrady or LeBron James. So I think that right there, the expectation for Wiggins was definitely very high, but I still think Wiggins could have been a lot more of a better player. And I'm not saying Wiggins is a bad player, because he obviously puts up numbers and stuff, but he was definitely not the next LeBron James. But I think Wiggins, it was more so, I think it was more mental than anything. I think it was simply straight up too high of expectations. And he obviously had the athleticism and stuff to be a great player, but I don't know, man. Maybe the expectations got to him or something, or maybe he just, he didn't put those comparisons on himself. It's just everybody else did it to him, right? So we're gonna check this video out and see what these similarities are. I've not really watched any Timberwolves preseason basketball, so I don't really know how Edwards been playing. You guys let me know in the comment section below. Let's get to it, man.
Here is Wiggins, played 1 year at Kansas. At times, Jay, he was completely explosive on the
6'8" shooting guard, yep.
When he disappeared, what does he do well?
I like him more as a small forward.
Athlete. They don't make athletes like this very often, so he can score in transition, he can really run, he can get off the floor, and he's explosive in doing that. He's a great defender. He can guard multiple positions, a great first step, and he's got a terrific second jump. But as a defender, his opponents that he was guarding shot only 32% against him last year.
Damn, that's actually pretty damn elite.
Now he can shoot it.
He got away from that.
But he's a good shooter. A straight line driver, tends to settle for jumpers a little bit, but last year.
What's good, everybody? It's Treese, and one of the more frustrating busts of recent NBA memory, in fact, I'm just going to say of all time, was Andrew Wiggins.
Would you guys say he's a bust?
Busts have an excuse. They could say that they would have been as good as advertised if it weren't for a major injury. I mean, somebody
See, I almost feel like we need a word between bust, bust and actual and not a bust, just because Wiggins, to compare someone like LeBron James and Tracy McGrady, I feel like anybody would be a bust in that circumstance. Because if you're not as good as LeBron, then it would technically be a bust, right? But it's Wiggins, he's not Anthony Bennett, Or I don't really like using Greg Oden as a bust because of injuries and stuff. But yeah, he's not quite Anthony Bennett, so I don't put him the same category as a bust when it comes to that. What do you guys think?
Oden really just epitomizes this unfortunate situation. The guy was a beast. Would he have been a superstar big man had it not been for his injuries? Well, I wouldn't quite go that far.
He would be DeAndre Jordan, better offense.
We didn't even see the half of the Kraken that was Greg Oden, who unfortunately was never fully released. But Andrew Wiggins, he just didn't have an excuse. In fact, everything was going for him. You talk about a prototypical wing in the modern NBA with franchise cornerstone potential, and Andrew Wiggins in 2014 was supposed to be that guy. And it made sense. 6'8", 44-inch vertical, 7-foot wingspan, top recruit in his high school class, brought that success to college. The raw talent was there. Every single God-given tool possible out there was handed right over.
Yeah, Therese is saying right here, straight up, he had everything you wanted in a player. I will say, when it comes to Wiggins, you can kind of see where he would dominate in college and high school more because he was probably just that much more athletic than everybody else. Where when it comes to the NBA, his athleticism, he's still extremely athletic, but he doesn't exactly have the muscle bulk that some other players have out there, and you kind of close that gap on the athleticism compared to other guys. Everybody in the NBA for the most part is athletic. So I could see that kind of being a reasoning too. And then of course, I've never really become a great jump shooter. Definitely doesn't help out. But the defense is kind of what fell off, right? Like I said, he was a great defender in college, but now so it's just he can't use that athleticism to his defensive pros out there, bro. If you know what I'm saying, I don't really know if that makes sense or not, man. But yeah, I would say that's kind of a big reason.
To Andrew Wiggins, and all that he needed to do was put in a little bit of effort. And
effort. It's a good way to put it.
Part of his career, he looked great. In fact, by year 3, he was averaging nearly 24 points per game.
Damn, good numbers.
Pretty solid efficiency
Amazing.
all around. In fact, even Kobe really did like the kid. He was in awe of his potential and really noticed the similarities between his patented fadeaway to that of Wiggins that was improving year by year. But slowly it all went downhill. Andrew Wiggins signs an extension after that 24 point per game season right before the next season began.
He sound white-sided himself.
Averaging 18 points per game on even worse efficiency. We begin to hear rumors about his work ethic really just not being there. Jimmy Butler comes in and totally exposes Karl Anthony Towns and
third stringers, remember that,
for who they really are when expectations are high, and that would be his penultimate full season in Minnesota. Some blame it all on Jimmy, while others blame it all on the bag. Either way, there's another young player who many are going as far as to claim that he's going to ultimately face the same doom that Wiggins did, all over again. And this player is, of course, Anthony Edwards, a player who has recently been gaining a lot of attention, and for all of the wrong reasons, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, I don't know the story of him, really.
Destined to be Andrew Wiggins 2.0 in Minnesota, or are we getting a little bit crazy here? And before we hop into it though, this is usually where most YouTubers would guilt trip you into subscribing by showing how many of you watching aren't subscribed, but my ratio is so bad that I'm too embarrassed to show that. So
hey, I feel that.
To help
I feel
that embarrassment so that I could guilt trip you in a future video, that would be awesome. And a like would be awesome too, but only if you actually like the video, so it's up to you. Now, let's get into it. So, Anthony Edwards about a month ago went out and claimed that he can be better than Dwayne Wade. I found this a bit
Come on!
That is setting the bar kind of way too high and really just setting yourself up for
Hey, you know what? He got the confidence at least. You know, Wiggins was told he'd be LeBron. He didn't say he was LeBron.
failure. But then again, we all know
That's
Anthony
funny.
Edwards, and if you don't, well, the guy lives off of his confidence, so maybe him setting the bar that high
could be a good
was
thing.
his way of motivating himself until he works and reaches that goal. But the key word of that sentence is work. You actually have to work to be a good basketball player.
Can't just say
If
it.
you're out there and you have ever played basketball competitively, then you would know this. And it's not that Anthony Edwards has shown us that he's incapable of putting in the work or that he doesn't put in the work at all, but he has yet to show us just how much work he's really willing to put in. What many young players might experience as they enter the NBA is the reality that a lot of basketball players in the league are better than you at basketball. Most young and athletic players like Anthony Edwards are able to get by at the high school and college level because they were just that much more
Yeah, that's what I'm saying earlier about Wiggins.
more naturally talented, and they were willing to put in an enough amount of work to get to their level of stardom at those respective levels. I listen to a lot of basketball podcasts, and on one of JJ Redick's podcasts, he mentions how when he came into the NBA playing for the Orlando Magic, he was kind of stunned by how good some of those role players in the NBA are. On the outside, we like to make fun of players like
Well, yeah, I mean, Redick, and when he was playing for Duke, like, he was, like, the best player out there. I mean, straight, like, the Duke dropped, like, damn 50 games and got to the NBA. And, like, Redick actually had a nice, solid NBA career. Like, sometimes you see guys, like, I'm going to name, like, another Duke player, like Kyle Singler. Like, Kyle Singler was really good at Duke, and then he came to the NBA, he was complete trash. Like, Redick, but Redick got by because of his amazing jump shot and work ethic to work on his jump shot, too. So, the way Redick dominated in college really translated over to the NBA because, like, you know, like I said, athleticism is pretty close to in guys in the NBA, but being able to shoot like JJ Redick, like, not everybody can do that. So
Cameron Payne when they're playing poorly. In fact, a few years ago, people were calling him the worst player in the NBA. But what do you think Cameron Payne is doing on his off night? Do you think he's sitting on his couch, reading what other people sitting on their couch are saying about him? No, he's busting his butt in the gym in order to secure another $1 million contract while a bunch of sheep on Twitter cramp up their fingers talking bad about him.
damn.
Cameron Payne just came off of an amazing bubble performance for the Phoenix Suns this year and was a massive part of why they went 8-0 during that stretch. Now, I don't want to talk about Cameron Payne this entire video, though I love the guy. Shout out to Cam and stop sleeping. But the point in bringing
Big
this
Cameron
up
Payne
is that
fan,
you can
okay,
have the
cool.
most talent in the world, every godsend gift a basketball player could possibly imagine, but you still need to put in the work. Ask Andrew Wiggins, and I know I'm slandering a player making hundreds of millions of dollars while I sit here on my desk talking about him in a video that will probably be copyright claimed by the NBA, and I'll make no money off of it. However, I would rather work 6 hours hours a day doing something that I love than be a millionaire doing something that I have no passion for, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Anthony Edwards has shown us that he's capable of working. There are plenty of athletic 6'4" guards out there in the world right now eligible for the NBA draft, and I don't think that it's a coincidence that Anthony Edwards was taken first out of all of them. He clearly worked enough on his jumper and his handle and his polish and touch around the rim. But
yeah, and like even with like because I don't really remember Andrew Wiggins' draft class all that much. I don't remember what other guys were in there. Let me actually look it up real quick here, guys. Okay, yeah, so like with the exception of like Joel Embiid, who of course, had like injury issues himself, it wasn't a really strong draft class anyway. I mean, Marcus Smart's nice, but like do you think of Marcus Smart's like a first overall pick? Zach LaVine probably could have went higher and stuff. Second round looking like this. So it was a pretty damn weak draft class anyway. And I kind of feel like that's a pretty good similarity between this draft class too, is that I don't think the 2020 draft class was that strong. I mean, obviously that could be a bad take like 3 or 4 years from now, but for like right now, it's like Anthony Edwards was the first pick in the draft. Could it have been somebody else? Yeah. And I probably would have been okay with that. Like if it was like LaMelo Ball or somebody like that.
he has never been paid to do all of those things, and more importantly, he has never been paid to compete against a bunch of grown men doing the exact same thing with their careers and their families on the line. Now, Edwards has yet to secure anything in the NBA but his rookie contract, and those rookie contracts are nice, but they are nothing in comparison to what some guys are making after their first NBA deals. We recently just
$100 million.
saw a bunch of guys like Jason Tatum and Brandon Ingram sign crazy deals that are worth more in 1 year than Anthony Edwards' entire rookie deal. And although Anthony Edwards could probably just quit basketball today and remain comfortable financially for the rest of his career, there's no way he would ever do that, right? Well, let's just hope that the NFL doesn't show any interest towards him, because
Wait, what?
apparently he would rather be drafted into the NFL than the NBA. And though this is
Man, this... Why does he say stuff like that? That is... I'm sorry, like, that's a red flag and a half right there. That's rough.
taking a bit out of context, Edwards said this because in the NFL, players could have more fun on the field when it comes to celebrating than NBA players can on the court, but still we're talking about the #1 pick here. This should be the very last thing that should be on his mind. And just this quote alone,
yeah, winning championships is
not
improving
enough to change my mind about Anthony Edwards, but you include the fact that he has said that he's still not really into basketball, and the quote of him saying that he can't watch basketball, and suddenly I'm getting really skeptical about him.
Yikes.
I've been very optimistic about Anthony Edwards for a very long time. In fact, at one point, I believed that he would be the superstar out of this draft class, and there is a part of me that still believes that this is a possibility with him, but these are quotes you can't just avoid. The Minnesota Timberwolves have had 3 #1 overall picks since 2014, one of which became one of the best big men in the entire NBA, who still can't win basketball games, one of which was a basketball prodigy who is not about the prodigy work ethic. And one of them, we'll just have to wait to see what his destiny is, because with basketball, sometimes an injury can determine a player's destiny, while other times it's totally dependent on the player.
Yeah, he's a Harrison
Let's all
Barnes now.
pray that Anthony Edwards avoids these two.
Yeah, I mean, like, wow, like all that stuff he said. I'm going to use like an example right here. Like Kyrie Irving kind of says things that are kind of like, things that you typically would not hear somebody say, but he's still a fantastic basketball player. And the things he says doesn't do with like basketball really. I mean, he's like, yeah, like, I don't want to like talk to like the media or whatever. Like that's not like him talking bad about basketball, but like Anthony Edwards saying that he can't watch basketball. Like, is he not going to watch like game tape then? Saying he'd rather would have went to the NFL. Like, is he going to be spending his damn Sundays watching football instead of, going to practice or whatever? That's definitely, yeah, some big time red flags. And the fact that he's saying that as an 18-year-old rookie, it's like, what's he going to be saying, 4 or 5 years from now, man, when he's been doing this for a while too? So, not good. Definitely not good at all, man.